Thank you, Dr. Walters. At this time, we want to hear from Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, and also Minister for National Security and Disaster Management. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Press Secretary, and good night to citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, to those who are viewing online, and to those in the diaspora. I want to say also good night to those who are listening and looking at us regionally and internationally. And I want to start off by asking us to keep our brothers and sisters in Carriacou and PT Martinique and in the Grenadine Islands in our thoughts and prayers. And I say this because we have had, since early afternoon, very little communication from Carriacou and PT Martinique. Virtually all of the communication that we are accustomed to is down, both cell phones, internet data, VHF radio. We also trying ham radio. We also trying satellite phones, but the communication has been scant at best. And as you would recognize from the various briefings that have gone before, we have very little information as to the exact state of play in Carriacou and PT Martinique. And so we will continue to monitor the situation and continue to get, attempt to get communication and contact established with Carriacou and PT Martinique. If we are not able to do so overnight, we certainly will, first thing in the morning at daybreak, send the Coast Guard to Carriacou to be able to do an assessment. Because it is dark night, and because we suspect there may be significant amounts of debris in the water, we have decided not to send them tonight because we want to make sure that we don't endanger the life and limb of our security personnel. So again, I want to emphasize that at this point we do not have any accurate information as to the state of play in Carriacou and PT Martinique. We are aware that there is no power. We also are aware that communication is down, and from earlier in the day we are quite clear that the destruction and the damage has been quite devastating. When last I spoke with Minister Tevin Andrews, he had indicated that save for the emergency operating center, that almost everything else around Carriacou had been damaged or significantly destroyed. So yes, while Hurricane Beryl is now past, it has left clearly a path of destruction, a path of damage on mainland Grenada, but more so significantly in Carriacou and PT Martinique. And I want to emphasize that although the all clear has been given, that the curfew remains in effect until 6:59 a.m. tomorrow. The reason for this is to ensure the continued safety and security of our citizens. As you've heard from Grenlec, there are fallen lines mostly in the eastern and north and western parts of the island, and so it is not able to restore electricity in those areas until it is able to properly assess the extent of the damage and the repair work that is necessary. This means that there is a risk to life and limb, and we want people therefore to stay off the roads. We've also heard from the Commissioner of Police that as at least 1 or 1.5 ago, some parts of the road on the western and northern side had not yet been cleared, and so traversing the road, certainly at least up to 1 hour and a half ago in those parts, was not permissible. Again, another reason to stay off the roads tonight until we're able to make a better assessment of the state of things tomorrow morning. You'd have heard Mr. McIntyre indicated that because the all clear was given at 8 p.m. tonight, that we could not give a more thorough damage assessment on mainland Grenada, and certainly we are not able to give any assessment at all, except for the preliminary reports that we got in relation to Carriacou and PT Martinique. So again, the residual effects of the hurricane will persist for a long time, and so we need our citizens to exercise caution and care. I will give you some additional updates. The airport has indicated that it has suffered minimal damage or disruption, and that it will be in a position to be open at 10 a.m. tomorrow. The Grenada Ports Authority has also indicated that it will be in a position to be open tomorrow. That's the Port of St. George. It is not able to give any assessment as to the state of the port in Carriacou for the same reasons that we've advanced before because of the inability to get any contact or accurate information coming out of Carriacou. NAWASA has already given its update, and Grenlec has also given its update. Telecommunication has been severely disrupted as a result of the storms, so much so that even at the National Emergency Operating Center here at NADMA, we also suffered significant disruption for a significant part of this afternoon. And you would have observed that our usual timely briefings, which we normally give, has not occurred this afternoon, and that is because of the disruptions that we faced. Thankfully, the situation has improved, and we are now able to communicate more clearly and accurately with you. I want to provide a brief overview of the security situation. The Royal Grenada Police Force indicated that there was no major incidents of note. The Central Police Station on the Carriacou suffered damage to its roof, and as a result some water damage and some electrical damage as well. So the necessary precautions have been taken to ensure that we minimize the risk associated to the lawmen who are operating from the Central Police Station, and obviously that is one station that we would have to make efforts to begin to repair immediately so that safety is brought to the lawmen. There was a fallen tree at the residence of the Governor General that has been cleared, and I'm happy to say that the Governor General is safe and there is no risk to her safety. There were some fallen trees at the residence of the Prime Minister. That too has been cleared up, and there is no risk. As you would have heard when the person from the Ministry of Health gave its report, we do have, regrettably, one fatality that is reported to have occurred at River Road when a tree fell on a home. This hits home because the deceased person is in fact a relative of one of the persons who spent the last 36 hours with us here at the National Emergency Operating Center. I want to take this opportunity to express on my own behalf and behalf of the people of Grenada our profound condolences to the family of the person who've lost their loved one. And it shows that even when persons are here doing human service to the nation at a difficult time, that sometimes tragedy could strike when you least expect it. And so again, on our own behalf, we express profound empathy and condolences to the family of the victim. That is the only fatality that we have reported thus far, but bearing in mind the challenge that we have in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, we are not able to confirm that this is the only fatality. We do hope that there aren't any other fatalities or any injuries to persons as a result of the hurricane. I want to point out that we will have a CARICOM emergency heads of government meeting at 10 a.m. tomorrow, partly to coordinate the CARICOM response to the disaster. The meeting will be chaired by President Irfan of Guyana. As you are aware, Grenada was set to assume the chairmanship of CARICOM on Wednesday of this week, but as a result of Hurricane Beryl, we had to cancel the CARICOM meeting, and so President Ali will continue to chair this emergency meeting so that we have a coordinated response to the disaster. I wish to say that to some extent we have dodged a bazooka. A Category 4, almost Category 5 hurricane is almost as severe as it gets. And save for Carriacou and Petit Martinique and the northern part of Grenada, we have escaped largely unscathed. We have to be thankful. We have to count our blessings. But this exercise has demonstrated that we have a long way to go in our approach to preparedness for natural disasters. So we need to appreciate that we live in the hurricane belt. All of the evidence suggests that the storms are going to become more frequent and they are going to be more powerful and strong, as Hurricane Beryl has demonstrated. This storm developed into a Category 4 storm in record time. We had very little time to prepare. And so as a nation, we have to come to grips with the reality of where we live and the threats to our existence. And so it is important that when this initial phase is over, that we conduct the necessary debriefing, we conduct the necessary postmortem, and that we put the necessary systems, procedures, and resources in place to make sure that we continue to minimize risk to life and to property and to our way of life. There have been several persons who have spent the last 36 or more hours at the Operations Center working on behalf of the citizens of Grenada. I want to take the opportunity to thank them for their service. They have gone above and beyond the call of duty. They have done so at enormous sacrifice to themselves and to their families. And so on behalf of the citizens of Grenada, I express my personal thank you. On behalf of the government of Grenada, I express its thanks for the tremendous work and support that you have given. This is not over by a long shot. The National Emergency Advisory Council meeting will meet at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow to provide a more thorough review of what the current situation is. As I said, Carriacou and PT Martinique remains of major concern. We still have several thousands of persons who are in shelters. There has been significant damage to homes, and so all of the necessary relief efforts are going to have to be galvanized to make sure that persons are looked after. We are here to serve you. We will continue to do so in the best interests of the citizens of Grenada. This is a time for all of us to unite, to show empathy and solidarity with each other, but not just here in Grenada. Bear in mind that St. Vincent and the Grenadines have also been impacted by the storm, and at this moment I do not have a report from my colleague Prime Minister of St. Vincent, and we may have to be prepared to also render assistance to them. So I want us to bear this in mind. I'm sure there are still several areas that we will be required to provide updates on, but I want to take the opportunity to thank the members of the media who've stayed the course with us throughout this period and have been of tremendous significance in ensuring that the public is kept abreast in a timely manner of what was taking place. We have no doubt that this assisted many citizens in staying calm because you were providing them with timely and accurate information. It has been a long couple of hours. A lot of persons behind the scene have not slept in the last 36 hours. We certainly want to give them the opportunity to do so, to see their families, and for them to be able to be back here as early as possible in the morning. So, Presec, again, thank you for being here. Thank you to all of the persons who've made this possible. And I want us to remember we still need to be careful. We still need to be safe. There is another system that is developing in the Atlantic. The Met Office will continue to brief us on this to make sure that we pay attention to it. We hope that it dissipates and does not pose any threat to us here in Grenada and to our brothers and sisters within the region. Thank you, and do have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. While you were presenting, we were